move forward. The wisdom of marriage. So we're going to talk about, just like I mentioned, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the system of nikah? What is this whole purpose? You know, and then the interesting thing here is Allah is the creator of the universe. Is there anything in his creation that can reproduce without requiring a partner? Does anyone know of something like that? Starfish? Okay, that's real cool.
A stingray.
A stingray? Okay. Uh, earthworms? Earthworms, right? So starfish and earthworms, and then possibly a specific stingray. So what I'm trying to get at here is not to, of course we marvel over his creation, but the fact that he could cause human beings to, spread throughout the land without this system of nikah. So if he has the power to do that, and he's clearly displaying to us that he does, then the fact that he made the system of spreading humanity throughout the earth, this system of nikah, it tells us something. There's some wisdom to be learned from this. So that's what we're going to be focusing on over here. All right. So now, what are the things we're going to be talking about in this thing here? Now, unfortunately, this is not exactly in the same order. I made some adjustments at the last moment. So the sunnah aspect is going to be coming a little bit later on. We're going to be talking about these things under number 1 here. So marriage is sunnah. The first marriage. Very important for us to understand. If we want to understand the wisdom, we look back at the origin. Then we're going to focus on a hadith which talks about the rib. And, I'm not going to spoil it for you now if you don't know what that is. Then the Quranic purpose of marriage. So the purpose of marriage is actually mentioned in the Quran, which tells you something. It's important to know. The Quran is a book of guidance, of hidayah. It will contain within it things that we all need to know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deemed it necessary for us to know about this. And then some benefits of marriage itself, to give those of us who aren't married, give us some targheeb and motivation. Those of us who are, we can critique our own marriages and see if we have this and more, inshallah. And if we don't, we can attempt to get that. Should we break for salah? I think it's not time now. 6:19. Okay. When is adhan? Okay. Anyone know? 22. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I don't think it's time. It's 6:19. I think it's 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. All right. So now let's look at the first marriage. Okay. I'm not even going to ask, does anyone know what the first marriage is? Of course, it's Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam, the father of humanity and the mother of humanity. So if you guys don't know the creation story, then I welcome you to our family programs. We covered a little bit about Adam alayhi salam, and then after Ramadan, that first Saturday, we're going to continue talking in detail about Adam alayhi salam. So how Adam alayhi salam came to earth and those kind of aspects, we're going to cover that. We're not going to really talk about it here. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created humans for the earth. It was a purpose of why He created human beings. He says in Surah Al-Baqarah, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. I'm placing a representative on earth. That's why He created humanity. Angels were not created to be on earth, and jinn were, but they are not the Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who represent Allah's rule. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to place humans on earth, He created Adam alayhi salam. This is the first human that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. You want to be more technical than the first human that was sent to earth? There's a hadith where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, I was a prophet when Adam alayhi salam was still between mud and being a human being. So, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was actually first, but Adam alayhi salam was the first human sent to earth. So before coming to earth, Adam alayhi salam, he lived in Jannah. There's a narration about this. I know some of you might have questions we can talk about in a family program. Adam alayhi salam lived in Jannah. He was very lonely, however. So he would walk around, he would feel very lonely. So this was a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He slept one day, and when he woke up, he saw a woman beside him. So he asked her, what are you? He didn't even say, who are you? He said, what are you? And she said, I'm a woman. And he said, why have you been created? Now, this seems kind of strange, but imagine you're the only human being. There's no other one besides you. And then he sees a different creation. So then he's asking this question. He said, why have you been created? She said, so that you may have uh, a special trait that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you. And she actually said something else, but it's a question that I'm going to pose to you guys. What did she say? Um, so now, after this, Adam, he didn't feel lonely. He felt complete, felt whole, and he had happiness. So this was the first nikah that we know of, obviously, the first human nikah that we have. So it's mentioned, this story is mentioned in Tafsir al-Tabari and Tafsir ibn Kathir. In there also, it's mentioned that Hawa alayhi salam, she's the mother of humanity. She was made from Adam alayhi salam's rib. And she's made from the upper left rib. To be more specific, it wasn't all of the ribs. It was the top of the rib cage on the left side. And Imam Ibn Kathir and others state that had she not been created from Adam alayhi salam's ribs, so Adam alayhi salam fell asleep, and then somehow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Hawa alayhi salam from his rib. So she is of human origin. She's made from him. That's why in Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خَلَقَكُم مِّن نَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ وَخَلَقَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا. Allah created all of you humans from one person, and from that one person, He made His spouse. So it's very different. Like, when you get married to a completely different person. But the origin it's kind of him. Hawa alayhi salam is like Adam alayhi salam. She was made from him. So, that whole thing that, what did we say? Like the starfish and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did that with Adam alayhi salam. So they say that had she not been created from Adam alayhi salam's rib, he wouldn't have a natural love and compassion for her. And one thing we can take away from this is that there is a natural attraction that we have to the opposite gender. And this comes from Adam alayhi salam. Because the origin, the first woman was made from the rib, there is a natural essence or a affinity towards the other gender. And so this natural love and compassion we feel for our spouses, this is something Allah gifts us. Inshallah, we'll break here and we'll continue on with some aspect of the story after Salah.